My name is Father Claude Williams. I'm a Norbertine priest at St. Michael's Abbey in Orange County, California. Currently, I'm serving as Assistant Dean of Students at our boarding school, and I'm also a teacher at the same school. For as long as I remember, I've wanted to become a priest. I think concretely, besides the influence from on high, especially Our Lady guiding my actions and the people who came into my life, I think it really was the example of religious and priest in Catholic schools that really gave me a concrete example to follow, to first of all be dedicated and consecrated to God with the 3 vows of poverty and celibacy and obedience, and afterwards also to express my appreciation for that gift by service to other people, particularly now in Catholic education, which I'm serving in at the moment. So it's really come full circle for me to have had the example of priests and sisters in Catholic school and now be able to share that same gift with my own students. In some ways, of the 3 vows, we could say that chastity or celibacy is the most difficult one, particularly for our times, because it's just taken for granted that people are sexually active. If anyone professes to be a celibate, the assumption of our society is that there's some illness of psyche that has to accompany that. That is, we're being frustrated in this sort of life. But in point of fact, our gift of celibacy is both a gift from God to us, because it opens us up to experience His love for us in a very radical way, which would not be the case if we were married. But it's also our gift to God, and a gift that He's very desirous of. It's a gift that He's given us, yes, and a gift that we return to Him, because it's our way as celibates of saying to God that you are most important in my life, even in this day and age where to be sexually active is put on one of the top priorities of anyone's, really, and without being crude, but to-do list, frankly. It's just seen to be something that is expected when you're in college or even before. We have to be sexually active and sexually sure. Whereas in point of fact, if we're just aware of God's love for us, then we're able to take those energies and use them for good. I dated a good deal. I did not have any steady girlfriend while I was in high school, actually, but I did date while I was in high school. But by the time I went to college, I was pretty convinced that I should be a priest. And in fact, when I was in college, I was actually a part of a discernment program. And part of that program involved a commitment not to date seriously. So after I graduated from high school, I didn't have any more dating experiences as such, but I was at a co-ed school, so I had lots of classes with girls. In fact, lots of them, or at least a good number, are counterparts of a sort. They're religious sisters now, so, and I still am able to keep in touch with some of them and benefit from their good example. In some ways, we could say that prayer becomes easier once we're ordained priests. I've only been ordained for a few months, actually. I'm not a priest for even a year. And certainly, the celebration of the Mass is the prayer that animates all of my other prayers, really, in a sense, because it is a perfect prayer. It's perfect in itself. And considering who I'm praying to, yes, it does get easier because every day I have that much more to thank God for. On the other hand, in terms of feelings, there are certainly times where I arrive to common prayers and am tired and distracted, primarily with things that are involved in our apostolate. My schedule starts, we have prayers at 5:45 in the morning, and maybe on a Saturday morning in the summertime, I wake up and I think, it's great to be alive and I'm refreshed and I want to just race over to church. But normally I'm tired. And so there is a challenge in going to pray at different times when we would be tired and maybe discouraged. But the secret, one of the secrets to improving that prayer life really, is that when we find that we're tired and we think we're too tired to pray or discouraged and maybe feel too discouraged to pray, to take that as an opportunity and a springboard to pray even more than we would have otherwise. Because the God who has commanded us to pray has done so for a reason, because it's possible and it's for our salvation. And if we, as priests, do not make time to pray, then we are bound to fail in what we are obliged to do. And that is to save our own souls and save the souls of those to whom we minister. If we're not praying, we're not tapped into the source of salvation, who is God. If I had to give advice to any young man who's considering a vocation to the priesthood, the advice I would give is this: pray, 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 particularly before the Blessed Sacrament. We cannot underestimate the power of making holy hours, especially during the time of our discernment. To go to Mass every day would be great if it's possible, but also to make time for that silence before our Eucharistic Savior will be indispensable. And also to have a true devotion to the Virgin Mother of God. Because as I look over my own vocation story, and I think of the innumerable obstacles that I have seen and I perceive that have crept up, that could have really prevented me going all the way to the altar. And then I imagine all the invisible obstacles that I'm not even aware of. We have invisible enemies who are laboring against our vocation. I am very much convinced, beyond the shadow of a doubt, that it has been the hand of the Mother of God who has guided me through so many dangerous situations and really brought me to where I am today as a priest of Jesus Christ. So stay close to our Eucharistic Savior and stay close to His Virgin Mother.